My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Crimes of the Future. Now, this is a movie I was really looking forward to just because it's directed by David Cronenberg. I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but out of the ones I have seen, I have enjoyed his work. And when I saw the trailers for this movie, I was just like, wow, this looks like a really gross and horrific body horror movie. And I was kind of scared to watch it, to be honest, but after watching it, this movie was heavily mismarketed. You watch the trailers and you think this movie is going to be a lot more bloodier and grosser than it really ends up being. Almost all of the gross elements in this movie you see in the trailer. It's a lot more of a drama with certain body horror moments, and in that way I felt misled by the trailers. But how was this movie? Well, let's begin talking about the things I do like, beginning with David Cronenberg's direction. I do think this is a well-directed movie, and it's very strong on a visual level, and all those gross body horror moments I was talking about not too long ago, all really gross and effective in those moments. Like, you see it in the trailer, but when there's that one guy who's got ears stitched all over his body, that really got under my skin and that really frightened me. And the practical effects in this movie are quite impressive. I love some of the production design going on with just things as simple as a bed and a chair. Just the design that those items have in this movie really allow them to stand out and to stay with me. And this movie is trying to explore lots of ideas. It's trying to explore the idea that if humans couldn't feel pain or pleasure, how would they try to find those things? And I thought that is an interesting idea. It also touches on human evolution. It also touches on how man treats the planet. And I also think there's an angle here where it's trying to be an analogy for Hollywood in certain moments. But those three things are the primary ideas of this movie, and I do think those are interesting ideas, but they don't have an ounce of impact in this movie because just about everything else was so incredibly weak, especially the story and characters. Like, I couldn't care less about anyone or anything going on. This movie has all these supporting characters that you could literally write out of the movie entirely and it wouldn't change a thing. There's these two investigators that don't really add anything to the movie. There's this cop that doesn't add anything. There's these two evil women that just come out of nowhere in the last act of this movie and they don't add anything. So when the most of the main cast adds nothing to this movie, you know you've got yourself a problem. The characters in this movie also don't talk like people. They talk like a screenwriter writing dialogue in a movie trying to impress as many people as possible. But it was creating an emotional disconnect. I couldn't latch onto these characters because there was nothing to latch onto. They didn't act or behave or even talk like people. So I just couldn't have cared less what was happening to them. The story is unfocused and there's so much exposition in this movie, and all the exposition that they're relaying to the audience is just so uninteresting. Like, I found all the world building elements to be very lame and forgettable. And there's also this one angle of this movie where they're trying to be edgy and they're combining sex and surgery, and that angle just never landed for me. Like, there's this one scene where there are these two characters that instead of kissing each other and having sex, what they do is they lie on this bed where the surgeries take place and they both just get cut into. And I don't know if it's supposed to be this gross, horrific scene or this romantic scene, but it definitely doesn't come across as that, or even the either. So it does not work. And this movie is also an hour and 48 minutes long, I think, and it feels so much longer. For the entire second half of this movie, I kept checking my Fitbit, and I'm just like, come on, wrap up. It is way too slow. It feels much longer than it is. And by the time the movie ends, it still feels like nothing happened. I get the ideas they're going for, but you have to have more than that. because otherwise they're nothing more than just ideas. There's also this one element where there's this love triangle and it just doesn't work at all. I don't buy the relationship between Viggo Mortensen and Lea Sedol, and I definitely don't buy his relationship with Kristen Stewart. It feels like a complete afterthought. The cast also didn't impress me. Viggo Mortensen, I'm a big fan of as an actor. I think he's great in Eastern Promises, A History of Violence, Captain Fantastic, and the Lord of the Rings movies. But he was just so incredibly bland and uninteresting here. This is the worst performance I've seen from him. Then you've also got Lea Sedol, who I've never really cared for as an actress. I find her to be bland in everything she's in, and that's still the case here. Then we've got Kristen Stewart, who seems to be a very mixed bag for people. Some people love her performance, some people think it's her worst performance in a very long time, and I actually do like her performance. It feels like she's purposely trying to give the same kind of performance that she used to give in the Twilight movies, but this time she's aware of it and she's kind of having fun with it. And it's a very weird, stilted performance, but I actually found it to work in a way that just allows her to stand out. She has the most memorable performance in this movie, for better or for worse, and for me, I enjoyed it. Then you've also got Don McKellar, who I think added nothing to this movie, and you also got Scott Speedman, who I haven't liked in anything I've seen him in, but this might be one of the better performances of his. I think he's legitimately good here. And you've also got Welkit Bungu, and I don't think he was all too good either. But this movie did not work for me. I love the body horror elements of this movie when it's present, but it's very rare that it ever is. The practical effects in this movie are great. It's got a strong visual style behind it. It is well directed, and it is trying to explore all these different ideas. But all of that means nothing if I just don't care about anything going on, and that's definitely the case. The story and the characters are just as bland as it gets. At no point was I invested in what was going on. At no point was I emotionally engaged. Instead, I was just sitting on my seat, forced to watch a movie, well, not forced, but you know what I mean. Just sitting in my seat, watching the movie, just waiting for it to be over because there was just nothing there. This is a very bad, forgettable movie, and I'm going to go ahead and give Crimes of the Future a 3 out of 10. And one last thing I do quickly want to mention is the fact that this movie has a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, and not a single normal person is going to like this movie. If you're not a pretentious film snob, you're going to hate it. The disconnect between critics and audiences is just so apparent, especially with Men coming out a few weeks ago, which was a terrible movie, but critics still really liked it. You just can't trust them these days. And that's why you should subscribe to my channel, because you can trust me. But anyways, have you seen Crimes of the Future? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.